The market doesn't know what keeps you up at night. It doesn't know when you want to retire, and it doesn't know how old you are. The simple truth is, the market doesn't care. But if you care, you've tuned into the right place. You're listening to Investor Resources, bringing clarity to the confusing world of finance. Here are your hosts of Investor Resources, Don Creech and Perry Sykes.
I'm Don Creech.
And I'm Perry Sykes, and welcome to the Investor Resources Podcast.
Well, the market has started off with a fairly strong year. When January is a good month, the adage goes, the rest of the year is going to end up okay. Doesn't mean that the ride will be smooth. And certainly in a year of politics, smooth is unlikely.
Not going to see that.
But we've had a major driver all of last year and as we start this year, and it's all about AI, artificial intelligence.
Indeed.
We assumed all along that AI, as massive an innovation as it is, it's going to change a lot of things, changing things that we would not even have anticipated. But when it first came about, the assumption was pretty universal. It was ChatGPT was the one that made it easy for somebody who is generally computer literate to be able to function with an AI product, crude as it may have been. But
Correct.
AI is not new. It's been around for a decade. It's just it hasn't been retail accessible the way it is now. But it's also
Correct.
more refined. It's having
way
a
more
much
refined. Yep, way more usable. It's ready for prime time on many fronts, and already becoming more and more integrated into the everyday operation of lots and lots of companies. And like you said, Don, one of the primary things is no one knows where that's going to actually show up anymore. You don't know where that's going to be. You just know it's coming, and it's going to continue to come for some time. And everybody's big fear is AI is going to take my job. And that's always been the case with new technologies. When Henry Ford absolutely reinvented the assembly line, and all of a sudden there was high automation in Detroit, everybody said, well, that's it, we're not going to need more people. Turns out they needed more people than they had before, because they could produce so much more product, and the price went down and the sales went up. And even though people were doing different jobs, there was more of them doing a job, but it changed things a great deal. And we're going to see the same thing. It's just really hard to try to figure out where those changes are coming from and what those changes are going to be at this point, because we really are right at the cutting edge where it's really starting to really move into industry.
So when ChatGPT first came out, one of the first things that you tried, Perry, was let's see what it can do about predicting the market. And
Correct.
The answer was?
The answer was, it immediately said, oh, I can't do that. That was one of the things. Finance writers coast to coast were like, hey, write me build a portfolio that outperforms the S&P 500 with less risk. That was the ask. And the answer came almost instantly to everyone who asked it. Can't do it. Too many variables, too many inputs, too much randomness from us people. That's the problem. And that's not something I can do. And it kicked it out right away. So it's like, okay, so we're not going to get that general an answer. So you have to get more specific. And there's AI software out there right now running ETFs where they're choosing the individual stocks to get in by whatever parameters they put in, because it'll still do that. It'll still distill the information and say, per your data points, these are the best companies. Are your data points any good? We don't know. Is it going to perform that way in the future? Even with ChatGPT, we don't know. So we're still not there as far as predicting anything as far as the market's concerned.
So the GIGO, garbage in, garbage out rule still applies.
In force, yeah.
Yeah, if you're building an investment model, what you start with and what you give the system to use as the data points, how is it going to make the decisions? If they're weak, there's error in them, then you're going to get bad output. Where it will be instrumental and usable, in many cases you won't even know. And we've mentioned this before in a prior podcast, and the one that comes to mind offhand is traffic management. Traffic lights now are controlled by computer timing. A lot of that's set manually, some of it's monitored, but AI will actually be able to monitor flow from some distance and adjust lights, particularly in an urban area where this will reduce parked cars at traffic lights. So that's going to be a benefit. But some of the other areas are in sales. For instance, we know that UPS has laid off people, and the assumption
A
was
lot, they said.
AI.
They said UPS, the article said it's the largest layoff in the 116-year history of the company. So they are lightening up their load. But I know, Tom, when I saw that, my first thought was, well, they're going to optimize delivery and they're going to optimize package sizes and all that stuff for delivery. Turns out it's got nothing to do with that. Like you said, Don, it's all marketing. It's all the pricing and the presentation side at UPS. That's all going to be driven by AI now. It'll get pumped out very quick. It's still going to be delivered by a human being, but all that background work, all the pricing, all the guidance they need going into a new delivery model for a new client, AI pulled out all of UPS's capabilities, put it all in a pitch, then built a PowerPoint program to go with it, and bang, they were ready to go. And that used to take a week or two to put together, and now it takes a few minutes once you learn how to do that.
When we stop to think about it, some form of AI was already being used to plan routes for delivery. When the packages
Sure, that's
go into
true.
the Amazon truck or the UPS truck or FedEx, that's all been programmed out by computer the night before. And wherever the driver goes, he's just systematically pulling things off the shelf. The next in line, that's his next stop. And the computer
Right.
programming already took care of that. So it's this new prospect that UPS is trying to contract with, and they don't know what all's involved. And that's your point, that the AI can produce that analysis in a matter of a few minutes. By lunchtime, they can be meeting with the
Right.
CEO and making a
We're good.
proposal.
You're good to go. Good to
So,
go. And it's funny. They're saying that companies they've already become very, very sensitive to saying they're reducing headcount because of AI. They don't want that to be true. They don't want that to get out because that scares everybody. Right away, it's like, oh no, AI is coming after our job. And the mantra now in the industry is not that AI is going to steal your job, but someone using AI is going to steal your job or take over your job. They won't steal it. They'll just take it over. So they're trying not to say AI is not replacing workers. AI is augmenting workers and letting them do more. And so they're trying to get rid of that explicit connection between layoffs and AI, because AI is not going away. So they're going to keep building on that base and saying, well, but in the future, we're going to end up with more employees because we're going to have more business doing more things. It's just going to be different. And that's always scary for everyone. You don't know, okay, everything's going to change. What does that mean for me? We don't know yet. We don't know yet. It's too new. And the first fallout, we need fewer people to do XYZ, whatever it is, than we needed before. We don't know where the plus is going to come in job creation. We just believe that's going to happen as we become more productive and more efficient.
well, that's what's happened in the past. We increase
Yeah.
productivity. The challenge for employees is that many of them are going to have to learn new skills,
Yes.
function in a new capacity, and learning new things. The older you get is less attractive. The older you get, generally speaking.
Correct. What's wrong with what we're doing now is what happens.
We've always
happens.
done it this way.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's like, yeah, well, we're not doing it that way anymore. In fact, we may not be doing whatever that is at all anymore. You know, AI will take over that whole piece, and we need somebody else to run this other part of the equation now. So it's changing. It's changing fast. It's changing in our industry at BlackRock. Larry Fink, the president of BlackRock, said they're right now getting rid of 600 employees. 600 employees, and again, they're not saying it's because of AI, but he said it's a very profound change that's coming. And most profound is new technologies are poised to transform our industry and every other industry. So he's talking about it very obtusely, doesn't want to get direct, but AI is changing the way things are. He thinks their headcount's going to be higher by the end of the year than it is right now. So he thinks they're going to add people doing something else. But again, he's not saying what that is. So, like you said, Don, retraining may be in order, or different jobs altogether may be in order. Who knows? We don't know where it's going, but that shift is underway. And, if it's happening at UPS and at a fund management company, that kind of tells you it's going to happen. Most places are going to be altered significantly by artificial intelligence.
Well, BlackRock is the largest money manager in the world.
Yeah,
And basically, what Larry Fink wants to do is expand his power base, his control over financial markets.
that's
He's
true.
going to expand into other markets that they really don't dominate at the present time. And when you look at financial statements, a lot of that analytical work can be done by AI. So you don't
Correct.
need the traditional green eye shade person sitting in the back room going through 10 Qs or whatever SEC report and financial statement footnotes, when those are going
Right.
to be able to be summarized very quickly, laid out in a systematic format, and a final okay can be done by um, a certified analyst. And they say, okay, we'll do
Correct.
that. And they'll tweak the formula that they use to fund the components of their ETFs and their mutual funds. They are challenged because BlackRock has been a real promoter of diversity and equity and all the social stuff, and they've had a
Right.
lot of pushback. They've lost a lot of money under management. Fortunately for them, they're the largest money manager in the world. But knowing what little I know of Larry Fink, because I do not know him, he doesn't
Correct.
like losing anything, would be my guess.
Right. That's accurate. Yeah.
Part of what's happening is we're going to see new exchange traded funds coming from BlackRock trying to offset the losses they've taken from their social media stance and the pressure they've applied to corporations to adopt social policies and green energy policies that were detrimental to company profits. I mean, that's part of where that pushback has come from. AI can help bypass the solution or create the solution and bypass the data mining that needs to be done to get there, and then create a new pitch book in short order so we can go back and say, well, we've changed our ways. We've changed our ways at least until we get your business. That's a Larry Fink
And right
model
now
of
the
money.
key for companies is trying to get that in there without saying out loud we're replacing employees with AI. The blueprint for that was written by Big Blue last spring. IBM came out and said we're going to have a complete hiring pause, and we think we're going to replace anybody that we don't hire with AI. And they really, really got beat up in the media, in the financial media. They really got hammered, and now everybody else is like, don't say that out loud. Just do it. Don't announce you're going to do it. Just do it. And so if you're going to reduce headcount, if you're going to bring AI on board, don't tell everybody in the rest of the world or the rest of the industry that you're doing it. Just get on with it. And so it's going to be a little under the radar for a while, but it's going to occur, and it's probably going to occur more rapidly than we think, and it's going to be more places. Like you said, Don, it's not only in fund companies and delivery companies, it's in traffic lights. So it's going to be built into our infrastructure. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to happen quickly. But initially, it's going to be met with a great deal of fear and disruption, as all new technologies are. But it looks like the upside is way bigger than the downside potential.
So one of the areas that we'll probably see it within the next 3 months is whether if the earnings trend that we see improving this quarter continues next quarter, we're probably going
Yeah,
to see more corporate officers giving the benefit to changing technology that's helping them improve the bottom line. More inventory control, better control on deliveries where the demand is, production line control, actual hours worked. There's a lot of data that goes into actual management, getting the product out to the customer, and AI will help improve all of that activity, facilitate point A to point B from buying product to getting the final product sold. Anyway, you're having some camera problems, and we are up on the end of our time here. So we'll just call this a wrap, and we'll plan on doing our next one here before long.